2 months ago I made this video in which I unboxed my new MacBook, this 14 inches M4 MacBook Pro, and throughout all this time I've been using it daily as a student, but even for content creation, so for example video editing, photo editing, those more complex stuff. And so I would say that after 2 months of use it's finally time to talk about this machine. Actually, I recorded this video in May, but now it's September, so it would be 6 months of using this MacBook and not 2 months, as I'm gonna say many times throughout all this entire video. But anyway, all my thoughts about this machine has remained the same after all this time of test of using this MacBook every day. So I just decided to post this video anyway, so enjoy it. So welcome here into this video. I'm Simone Bertolotti, and on this channel I make videos about tech products, photography, but even recently I've started talking about the university and maybe, for example, the tech products that I use. But into this video I would like to talk about, as I said, this MacBook, and in the first part of this video we'll see some specific parts and features of this MacBook, for example the screen, the battery, and then we'll talk about the actual usage as a student, but even for content creation. I will start from the screen, which probably is one of the best parts on the Pro models compared, for example, to an Air model. In this case there's a 14 inches screen, but in general the colors are literally amazing, especially when you're going to edit photos and videos, like in my case this is really important. But even the peak brightness, for example, while I'm using the MacBook with lots of light around me, the peak brightness is just amazing. It's like 1600 nits if I'm not wrong. And in general the point is that I've decided to go on the 13 inches, which first of all it's, in my opinion, the best size for a screen on a MacBook compared, for example, to the 13 inches MacBook Air, since I'm coming from a 13 inches MacBook Air, but even, for example, compared to the 15 inches MacBook Air, which I was evaluating, but even the 16 inches MacBook Pro, which is, I would say, definitely more expensive. But in general the 14 inches, in my opinion, is great because first of all it's not that big, for example, even in the backpack, and you're gonna have a not much important weight of the machine itself. So that's great because when I go every day to the university I have this MacBook usually with me, and so saving a little of grams and not having like the 16 inches MacBook Pro, which is definitely more heavy, I mean, it's a really good point of this machine. Moving now to the battery, if you go on the Apple website you can see that about this MacBook Pro there's written like 24 hours of battery life, but actually I can tell you that that's not true at all. That's not the case of this computer. But still, I've seen that this computer can last for about 12 to 14 hours in general, which in my opinion is really positive, because if you look at other computers which are not MacBooks, this efficiency on the battery is not that great. And so, I mean, having a product that, in my case, when I go to the university, can use my MacBook without charging it, in my opinion, it's more than sufficient. I mean, half a day of battery life, it's great, considering that usually when I use this MacBook at university or in general, I usually keep lots of apps open. In this case there's any because I've closed them all. The next thing I want to talk about might seem not important and not relevant, but are the ports, because as I've said I'm coming from 13 inches MacBook Air with only 2 USB-C ports. But in this case, as you can see from here, from both of the sides, there are lots of ports: 3 USB-C, 1 SD slot card, 1 HDMI, the MagSafe for the charging, and even the 3.5mm jack for the audio. So in general there's an overall package which is great to have compared to an Air, and it's a thing that I really enjoy having on this MacBook. Not as a student, because in that case usually I don't connect anything, but when I'm using the computer for video editing especially, but even photo editing, I have to connect lots of stuff like the external monitor, the charger, maybe the Ethernet for the internet, the SSD, lots of things. And I mean, having all these ports allows you to get rid of the adapter, the external adapter, which I was using always with the MacBook Air. We are now on probably the most important part of this video, which regards the performances and how this M4 chip performs as far as I've seen. And before starting, I want to tell you that recently I've made an entire video of the M1 MacBook Air in 2025. So as a comparison, that MacBook was already amazing both for the student side and for content creation. So consider that as a baseline. And now let's talk about this MacBook Pro with the M4 and see how it is. Wait, if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe to this channel and leave a like. That's basically the only way to support all the videos that I make. But now let's go back to the topic. On the student usage of this MacBook, I would say that first of all, I study management engineering, so at the moment I don't need any particular complex app. But you have to consider that when I use the MacBook, as I've already said, I use lots of apps open, even maybe throughout more days, even though maybe I can close those apps. But still, this MacBook can easily keep all those things open, even maybe with an external monitor like that one while I'm at home. So no problems at all. In general, is really an amazing MacBook, an amazing machine for students. And the thing that I really like is that even though maybe while I'm using lots of apps open, lots of things open on the computer, actually I don't have any problem and I don't hear any noise with the fan that there is into this MacBook Pro. So that's really positive, because maybe while you are studying you don't want to hear this really loud fan noise when, for example, you are not doing anything particular. So that's really a good point of the efficiency of this MacBook. Talking about the content creation usage, here things obviously get tougher for the MacBook, because first of all, as a student, even in this case, I use lots of apps at the same time, even when, for example, I'm editing a video. But the experience over the past 2 months while editing videos, editing photos, those things has been in general extremely positive. First of all, on the go, for example, while I'm on the train or at the university, especially on the train, maybe I edit some videos, edit some photos. But even when I'm here at home connected to the monitor, I use, for example, this second monitor, lots of apps open, and the MacBook is great, doesn't make any noise, even when I'm editing videos. So, I mean, there's nothing particular to say. This MacBook can really stand everything. And in my opinion, the great point for the content creation usage is not purely the performances, because the performances can be found on lots of computers apart from MacBooks. But the really great point of this MacBook is the whole package that you can find into it. So an amazing screen, as I've already said, for video and photo editing, that's amazing, but even the peak brightness. Lots of ports that makes this computer, this MacBook in general, a great package with everything on this content creation side, because you don't need anything more actually. You have everything that you need to work and to do your task, your complex task, and the experience is gonna be just perfect without any particular problem. The final short part of the video is about the differences between going from an M1 MacBook Air to an M4 MacBook Pro, and I have to say that these two machines are completely different. Obviously the Pro is a more complete machine, that there's a little level up, and the things on which I've seen a huge difference are, first of all, the screen. That's a thing that you can notice the actual difference. The second thing is the speed, obviously, because from the M1 to the M4 there has been a noticeable improvement, not a huge thing because the M1 was already great, but still you can notice it. The third thing are the ports. That's really, in my opinion, that has been one of the most important features that I've loved about this new MacBook that I bought. And the final thing is the audio, even though I have to be honest, it was already great. I know that lots of people say that the Pros have a better audio, but I mean, I already believe that the Air has a great audio because it's something, a really great audio, but the Pro gets a little bit better even on this side. So I would say that's all for this video. Let me know maybe if you want a comparison video between the M1 MacBook Air, the M4 MacBook Pro, a more in-depth comparison, and maybe even a 4 MacBook like a 15 inches MacBook Air. Maybe I can organize this video. Let me know in the comments if you want to see this video coming on the channel. Leave a like if you enjoyed this content and even subscribe, that's so important for the channel. But now, that's all for this one. I will see you guys in the next video. See you soon. Bye.